I, you're currently speaking to Shumelo, aka Melo, aka Choba, aka Woza Maneka, Woza Maneka, Woza. And what was I gonna say? On April 7th, I dropped a song called Melancholia. And I want to talk about it. So, I just want to get the production credits out of the way. I'd like to give a big shout out to the homie SHILOH RENN, who essentially gave the main beat of the song to me sometime last year. Shout out, dog. Thank you. What was it? Sometime in January. Actually, I'd like to say thank you to that nigga. He's also a recording artist who doubles as a producer. We are maniacs, and SHILOH's music is amazing. I really suggest that you go check it out. He's on Spotify, all streaming platforms, but you can find a bulk of his work on his SoundCloud. Another person that I actually want to shout out to is Utanzika, also known as COSMICSUPERHERO. That when I sent the track to, because he's a person that I look at as kind of an advisor in regards to my music, and I feel like my mix is not enough unless he actually green lights it. He's an artist by the name of COSMICSUPERHERO, as I said, and he releases music professionally on all streaming platforms. I'm also going to link his name, his artist name and whatnot, Insta and whatnot on all streaming platforms. And he's another person that I also suggest you listen to if you're a person who likes listening to alternative or instrumental based music, on the likes of your J Dillas and the likes of your Flying Lotuses and whatnot. I recommend that you actually listen to these people. Those are the main individuals that help me with the bulk of the production in regards to background vocals and in regards to the main beat that I actually use. Mixing and mastering to a certain extent, or the mixing and mastering to a certain extent was done by myself, but they did more than I've done. That I am eternally grateful for what they've done for me in regards to this track. Okay, now into the track itself. Into the cover. So within the cover, what you find is a black man in a field, and he is bleeding. He's standing and he's bleeding. Initial ideas that I had was for the man to actually be laying on the grass, because that's what I visualized mentally. But I think what is achievable is achievable. It depends on whatever skills that you actually have. So the artwork, specifically this artwork, because most of the artwork that I usually have are more realistic. It's more either a photo of my face, it's people that I know, it's actual pictures online that I kind of find on your Facebooks and whatnot that are interesting and kind of communicate the idea that I'm trying to communicate. So for example, Grande Cinco is a photo of me and my friends. We call each other the Big Five, or in Spanish, El Grande Cinco. Time Flies Malpanda is a song about reflection in regards to how I've actually made a way for myself, and having almost burnt up money in the hands of a person kind of communicates that idea. But I'm segueing a little too much. Why I chose the style, the painting or the artwork is painted in the style of Vincent van Gogh, right? Which is a painter who has long passed this realm that we call Earth. famously known for his painting Starry Night. Now, the reason for why I focused on Vincent van Gogh is that Vincent van Gogh was a troubled artist. Vincent van Gogh mentally was an actual troubled artist, in which I don't mean that I chose this style because he was dealing with mental issues, such as I am dealing with mental issues. That's not my case. It's not like I'm trying to create a twin moment. That's not what I'm focusing on. What I'm genuinely focusing on is the fact that his art was a reflection of the world that he lived within. Even when he did self-portraits, he did most of his self-portraits kind of looking towards but looking away at the same time, which kind of communicated to a certain extent his paranoia in regards to the world, also certain issues that he was dealing with. But hey, art is up to interpretation. I might be wrong. I'm not right about a lot of things. That's just who I am. So I chose this art, the art of Vincent van Gogh is because one thing that I always recognize within that legend is that or how I recognize him as a kindred soul is that we are people who mentally we are troubled due to the lives that we have lived. Van Gogh was not okay. I in this song recognize my past and recognize the fact that due to my past is the reason for why I am the manner in which I am. And before, I would have thought I had actually dealt with those issues, but in essence I hadn't. So this is one of the songs where I actually take a genuine first step towards recognizing why the role that my past plays on my issues and how it has actually affected me, type of shit. So that's how the artwork actually comes into play. Now into the actual song. So I am not in a space to reference the lyrics specifically, so but a lot of what I look at the writing in that song from is la concept yokungala and whatnot. I don't know how spelling it because the pronunciation it's Ngala, but it might sound like ngala and whatnot. I don't know if it's an Nnagala. I apologize, but Melancholia is written the beginning section is written from a section of an individual who was like, I'm suffering, right? Take all that makes me who I am, for that's what you want, right? You want the other sense of my being and the things that actually have me rooted to the world that I currently am in. So that's why I'm like, look, take the people that love me, or take the air that I breathe because I don't deserve it. To a certain extent, I actually want to communicate. I heard the now for I did too many sins, and in essence, the line is, I heard the air is not for I did too many sins, but the reason for why I said it in the manner that I said it in is I remember watching Smino's Colors performance and the backlash that was actually happening over there, and in my mind when I'm seeing the discourse that was happening, and the one thing that always pointed out was that so like American vocabulary and whatnot, you find they're not gonna say it's air, they're gonna say it's her. They're not gonna say it's hair, they're gonna say it's her. And it's you actually speaking colloquially or putting spice to the manner in which you actually communicate, which is the same thing that we do as South Africans.
To me, it's nothing but fairy tale mumbo
for example, is this one joke that they always point out in regards to comedy and South Africans, and it's the fact that we pronounce English words differently. You see, differently, we pronounce English words differently compared to how maybe Americans or the Europeans or the British actually pronounce certain words. We say management instead of management, and that's the same thing, just in an American term. So the one thing that I always pride myself in is that I I have gotten to a point in regards to the manner in which I write, got into a point in the manner in which I make music, art, and whatsoever, is that I am though I am I recognize myself as Shumelo, the closer person who's from South Africa, who's from the East Rand, who's from a township called Pumula. I always recognize the fact that I'm a multicultural being. My nigga, my nigga, I speak like 3, learning a 4th language. One would assume that the 4th language I would learn is like Portuguese, but nah, nigga, I am learning Spanish, and will utilize that shit to a certain extent. I speak Xhosa, speak Zulu, to a certain extent. Understand Sutu, but can regurgitate it. I've come to terms with that thing a lot, but it's a thing where I have to show how I'm a multicultural individual. I was raised on American hip hop. I was raised on Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and everything. I was raised on alternative music like Toro Imwa. My uncle made me listen to Pimp a Butterfly at some point in time, and I listened to that album every morning walking to school. For like a full year and whatnot. I went through the rite of passage, and that rite of passage actually helped me reignite my love for my culture as a person individual. So as much as I can do, I can do as much as I can to represent the person that I am with the art that I create. I like sorry. So I express the multiculturalness of who I am, because that makes up every fragment of my being. What I do also want to point out is that at some point in time within the track, because the track it shows the gradual process, so within a 2 to 3 minute song, I show you something that took me years to actually discover, to actually discover and actually come to terms with. And I've been battling it and pushing it downwards, but it was to this point that I actually dealt with it. So within the song, what I actually want to point out is that I am a church dropout, Methodist church and everything, favorite tulo and everything, favorite tulo. People who are close to me know that I hold near and dear to my heart, right? And I stopped going to church, and the only reason for why I stopped going to church was because I coupled church with a very dark time in my life, where it was never really something that was taught to me nor introduced to me in a proper manner where I could actually love it. It was something that was forced upon me, as this is a compulsory activity that you actually have to abide by, and if you don't, there's consequences to those actions. And after a certain point within my life, I just stopped going because the consequences to those actions were not there. So it was that thing where I wasn't allowed to establish my faith in the manner that I wanted to establish my faith in. And the fact that I wasn't allowed to establish my faith in the manner I wanted to establish my faith in is something that plagued me for years and years up until this point. And this point I want to point out is genuinely like sometime in February. because February for me personally is like the darkest month that that I experience. Not in comparison to other times where I've been down and out, but February stands out as that one time where I genuinely lost hope. And in that time where I lost hope was where I actually discovered the Lord. And me discovering the Lord, it's me slowly going towards faith. I do though want to mention a very specific piece within all of this. My brother by the name of SIHLE, Sihle Mayambela. Everybody say hi to SIHLE. Sure, hi to SIHLE. Anyway, he's steadfast within his faith, and it's to the point where me and my friends or me and Grande Cinco actually come to terms with the fact that he's an individual who's steadfast within his faith. And as he's an individual who's steadfast within his faith, he has constantly, on a daily basis, mentioned the fact that at some point in time we all are going to come to him and have a conversation about faith. Not that he's trying to convert us or anything, in which he always points that out, but what he loves doing is telling us that no, so I'm not even gonna force you, dog. You are going to be the individual that actually comes to me yourself, and we are gonna have that conversation. And I felt like it was time for me to have that conversation with someone I consider like a friend, but like an elder brother first and foremost. That it's time for me to actually have a conversation about my faith and why my faith is in the manner that it is. And I felt the song was a good stepping stone towards that, because he heard the song before any of you, before Shiloh heard it, before Cosmic Superhero heard it. He heard it first, and what I had expressed to him were my concerns of, does my song display full faith? I said the reason for why I went to him and had to consult to him as a person who's so steadfast in his faith. Nigga's even a pastor. That nigga is a pastor. UBROTHER is a pastor. Anyway, it's that nigga. Full faith, and by full faith I mean FAUX, right? Full faith. I can't say fox. It's not fox. It's full. And by full means fake. And why I had the conversation with him in regards to full faith is that the tail end of the song has me actually realizing that I go through the suffering that I go through now, because at some point in time it's something that will be relieved off me, not by me to a certain extent, but by me working and believing in a divine entity, and the only divine entity that has come to me and shown me that it is not lost on me the faith that he has in me, as I lost the faith that I had, is the Lord, right? So I felt like, so as I said, I was a church dropout, and in the Methodist church that I attended, they had a teenage ministry, and that teenage ministry had sessions every Saturday, led by a pastor, why am I forgetting her name? Because she was weirdly integral in my faith and understanding of myself outside of the church. But the leaders essentially, air quotes, the leaders essentially we had this one conversation where they were speaking about how we are as believers and how we are as Christians, where all we do is we go to the Lord and we're like, hey, hi God, you're the greatest. Can I have this and this and this and this and this, right? And he also mentioned that we always usually pray to the Lord when times are rough, instead of praying to the Lord when times are heavy. That's where my whole concept of full faith comes from, where I'm like, I am in a pit right now. I am going through it. I'm going through the worst of the worst right now. Life is kind of shitty for me right now. And during this messed up time period, I came across this whole time period. I came across religious enlightenment, right? My holistic enlightenment will come will come a month later. In that month, and it's funny how time flies, because I assume we're halfway. I feel personally like we're halfway within the year. In essence, it's still fucking March. But anyway, I realized that during this time period, I have achieved this weird sense of, enlightenment, and slowly developing my faith in God, not as a favor to my friend, and not as a favor to my brother or anyone else, but it was as if I was called upon, and that yes, this is your time to suffer and cry, and as it is your time to suffer and cry, you can actually come to me, and I felt as if I was being faith and telling him this in a fucked up time, when just 3 months ago life was good, life was okay, and I had great expectations towards the future, thinking everything is going in a good manner. Even though I came across struggles here and there, I was like, I can thug this out on my own, but the things that I was dealing with at that point in time required me to actually ask for a certain divine intervention. I communicate this idea in my March job by the name of Sinner's Plea, where I'm actually begging at that point in time. But that song was but Melancholia is where I genuinely come to terms with my faith, and feeling as if my faith is fake. But at that moment, it didn't feel it like that. It felt as if there was something I needed to communicate within my soul that I have seen nor witnessed, and have to continue with the way that I feel about it. You know what I mean? So he helped me understand that, being the pastor that he is, being the person who's steadfast in his faith, a studious person, he showed me as many verses as he could in reference to what I was going through, and showing me that it's not that bad to actually point towards the source and say the source might be the issue for what for what these problems are. It's not wrong to actually go to God directly and say, why did I experience this? Because that's usually the root of a very atheistical thought process, where he's like, where you think all the fucked up things that happen in the world are happening because God let them happen. So I turned within myself and saw the shit that was happening to me, and I looked to the Lord and said, why me, dog? As if I'm a special case. So SIHLE, brother SIHLE helped me actually understand my faith, and actually understand that certain things is not wrong. When I write from this perspective, I always, or in any manner that I always write, is I am blessed to be surrounded by individuals where I can make any random idea with them, maybe my music, and I know the right people to go to. And when I go to those people, I can go to them and say, what are your thoughts? Can we have that conversation? And And I am happy and I am glad that he was a person who was able to be there for me and actually have that conversation with me, because we sat and we spoke, and he mentioned the story of Job specifically, and how Job was the person who was ready to actually call out the Lord and say, what did I do to you? I want you to come down and tell me what I did to you, you know. But in the end, within him actually having the conversation through the suffering that he dealt with, within him having the conversation with the Lord was able to come to him and actually bless him bountiful moving forward, right? I had thought my suffering was due to the ways of the world and no design. And I then, when I started looking within, I then realized that at some point in time I was a child, and I had to, and I look at people around me, and I look at certain individuals who they grew up in a good manner, good homes, and everything was good. They grew up with a father who loved them, and no raucous and no fucked up shit. And I'm not talking about disciplining and anything. I'm just talking about the normalities of being in a normal household. Certain people were gifted with that, and I looked at that and I said, was I not deserving of that? What had I done to not be deserving of that? So I always reference, and at that point in time I was willing to point a finger towards my deity and towards my God and say, bro, why? Why did you allow me to feel these emotions that I actually felt? Or why did you allow me to go through so much pain when that's not actually what I wanted to go through? But I look at it, and because there's a song that drops on April 22nd, where it's not me essentially talking to God, but me talking to Father Time, and Father Time, and me telling Father Time that I have accepted the things that I can't control. And this is a segue unnecessary. I'll have the same conversation if need be. But within Melancholia is a moments of reinstallation of faith. So weirdly, so I can gladly say I believe in God. Within my prayers, it's tricky prayers, because at some point in time I was like, yeah, no, I don't believe in God, da 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 da, and had so many debates with so many people. Within so many years, like 5 years from now, but now I can, and now every time that I actually pray as an individual, even though I find it weird, it's like speaking to somebody that you haven't spoken to in years, and coming to him and saying, wait, so how does this conversation go again? I usually start my prayers with, I'm a sinner. I am a sinner, and me not saying that I'm a sinner as if I'm celebrating it nor reveling in it as if like, yeah, nigga, you did this. No, that's not the case. I come to him and say, I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner who's genuinely trying to deal with the issues that he has. And as I come to you as a sinner, I would like to start by saying thank you for all that you have done for me, because that's how they taught me how to pray. And as I thank you for all that, I praise you, for you are who wakes me up. You are the creator of all things. I'm able to articulate myself in a proper manner without saying, God bless me. No referring him by name. I have a conversation with that guy on a regular. I have a conversation with that man, that deity, that all-knowing being, that unstoppable force on a daily on a regular, where I'm actually having the conversation with him and telling him I'm not perfect. I understand that I'm not perfect. I used to blame you for that. I don't blame you for that anymore, though I understand that a lot of things are within your plan and within your design. I have to come to terms with the positions or the things that I did, nor the role that I played to actually put myself within this position. And that's what Melancholia is all about. It's confronting my trauma to not only strengthen, or not to not strengthen, but to discover my relationship with God, my relationship with religion, and my relationship with faith. I can't say I'm there yet. As a gradual process, it's not fast. It's not I'm a flawed person, Lord, and then immediately and then immediately I go to church, and then a month down the line. Like, no, it's like it's a slow process, and the fact that I've been alone within that process and dealing with it has been alone. But the fact that the company that I had, the individuals that I was surrounded by, who were able to assist me and help me with discovering who I am when it comes to my faith, when it comes to these situations, is the one thing that I love. I appreciate my friends. I appreciate SIHLE most of all, because he was the one person who was able to actually challenge that line of thought and not say, dog, you're a person, you're a person that doesn't believe in faith. And I understand. Brother Sihle is not the only person that I have in my life. Notaluto at the same time, in which he's been a person since uni, and uni was when that mentality was fresh, and he's been a person since uni who has always tried steering me closer and closer towards the Lord. And I never understood it, but I think what I genuinely needed was to utter my issues, and to point out the fact that these issues are the reasons for why me and the reason for why I am alive in this present day and age don't click that much. So I just wanted to point that out. I am interested in doing more and more of these. I like explaining my art, even though, yes, it's kind of contrarian to what artistry is. That art is genuinely up to art is genuinely up to interpretation. But I wanted to explain this because this piece of art is so near and dear to me and to my heart and to the fabric of my being, that I felt I just needed to say something. Um, when I appreciate anybody who listens to it when it drops. I know April 7th is like a couple of days away, but I appreciate anybody who listens to it when it drops. Any questions that anybody has, I am welcome to answering any questions that anybody has. I love discourse. I love actually having these conversations, though I'm a shy individual when it comes to the internet because I'm scared of certain responses and whatnot. But yeah, I give to you a piece of I give to you a piece of my trauma and self discovery in audio form, and I hope that you guys like it. I repeat, it's a song called Melancholia. It's dropping on April 7th, and it'll be dropping on all streaming platforms. Obviously, you guys will know because I'm gonna drop a video telling everybody that that shit will happen. But I would appreciate if you guys listen to that. Sharp Fede. Ngosi for listening to me if you did. And light speed, Godspeed on all that you wish for. That's all that I wish for. Okuhle okwakho kokuhle kwami. Okuhle kwakho kuvuyisa mna. Ngosi.